Welcome to the Amazingly Alcohol-Free Mother and Daughter podcast. I'm Jaime.
And I'm Jules.
And we're here to share our honest and unfiltered experience of how alcohol has impacted both of our lives and our relationship, and to show you that change is absolutely possible. Our whole lives, my mom, Jules, has always said, we can do anything because we're girls. And now we're not just saying it, we're actually living it every single freaking day. We believe in progress over perfection, and we are proof that we can do hard and often uncomfortable things. If you've been listening to this podcast and thinking, maybe I should take a break from alcohol or something just feels off, I created something just for you. It's called the 7 Days to Sparkle, Your Alcohol-Free Start. And I built this because the first 7 days can feel like the hardest, especially when you're doing it on your own without a plan or something to guide you. So I wanted to create something where you don't have to figure it out alone. This is a free 7-day experience where I'm with you each day, guiding you step by step. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to be perfect, and you do not have to commit forever. You just have to be willing to start. Each day, I'll show up in your inbox with a short video and a simple focus. I'll walk you through exactly what to do so it actually feels doable, because I know how it feels. I honestly never thought I could live a life without alcohol. It felt like part of who I was, how I relaxed, how I connected, how I celebrated, and how I did all the things in life. But when I finally took a step back, everything really started to shift. I had more energy, I felt more present in my life, and I started to trust myself again. That's what I want for you. This isn't about being perfect for 7 days. It's about building momentum and starting to feel like yourself again. You can start today or go at your own pace. I'll be there either way. Just head to amazinglyalcoholfree.com and click on the 7 Days to Sparkle, or check the link in the show notes. If something in you has been curious, this is your sign. You don't have to do this alone. Remember, you got this. Keep going. And let's dive into this episode. So, welcome. I'm so excited to welcome a guest today. Her name is Melissa McGovern, also AKA the Sober New Yorker. Melissa, I'm so glad to have you here. Well, how are you today?
Thanks, Jaime. I'm so happy to be here. This is exciting. You've got guests on your podcast. I'm one of the first.
Yes.
I'm super. I'm really, really great and really honored to be here today. Thank you.
Yes. And I've been on your podcast too. So,
You have.
which is
I
really
know.
cool. So I'm just honored to have you. And so, Melissa, you are an alcohol-free coach, you're a speaker, you have your own podcast, and you are a proud New Yorker, but I know you're from Wisconsin. And it's just so fun to get to know you after the last couple of months, because we met officially in person at the Sober Life Rocks event that we went to, Sober Amplify, in January. Yep. So it's really cool how just, in this space, we're able to connect with other, leaders in the space and just get to know each other and just support each other. It's really freaking cool, isn't it?
It's very cool. That conference was so neat to look across the room and say, hey, I recognize that gal. Yeah. Even if you didn't know exactly what your name was, you knew her Instagram handle, or you just knew the face. So then, meeting in real life was really, really fun. Yeah.
Oh, so fun. And I'm hoping we'll continue to do more events down the road, right? There's just so many cool things happening in the sober space. And
Definitely.
I just absolutely love it. And I don't know about you, but I just never expected to be somebody that would meet other women or men online and get to know them. It's just such a different world we're living in these days. I never would expected for me to be like that.
I mean, I think that's one of the good things that came out of this horrible pandemic, that fact that this is how we're connecting. And yeah, it's not, well, it depends on who you are. I mean, I really love in-person connecting, but if I can't have that, then to have this can be just as good sometimes. So it's, if we look at it, that's the one good thing that really came out of that. So
I totally agree. And I've actually become such a homebody since the pandemic too. I never want to leave my house anymore. I'm just it's I have to really make an effort. Especially now I work from home all the time too. And it's I have to really make that effort to want to leave and to socialize. But I love the in-person connection. It's been huge. Yes.
Yeah. And people are craving that now too. They really are. As a retreat leader yourself, there's people want to get together and meet in real life and share common bonds in looking someone right in the eyes instead of the screen. Yeah. So it's it's good. It's all good. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, I would love to just hear a little bit more about your story. I know that you relocated to New York.
Hmm.
Absolutely love your Instagram and everything you're doing. I know that you've been married for several years, two grown kids. You have two cats, which you've been posting about them a little bit the last few days. I've been seeing. You love Broadway travel. You're just so freaking cool. So I would love to just hear, maybe take it from the beginning about your story. And I think we have a lot in common as far as kind of your journey versus and my journey. And we also did the same coaching certification, which is amazing.
That's
And so,
right. That's right. And actually,
yes.
I'm interviewing her on my podcast right after this. That's who
Oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah,
Carolina, so
yeah. I
cool.
know.
Oh.
So cool.
Huh.
So my story, I mean, I'm 54, so we can't start at the very beginning or we'd be here all day. So, but I will say, being from Wisconsin, drinking culture was part of the game all the time. It just was. I think I probably had my first drink at 13 or 14. And, people that remember their first drink, I'm always really impressed with because I don't specifically. But through high school and through college, it was always there. And I would get in trouble over it, and it wouldn't really affect my decisions around it. It was because there were so many other kids doing the same thing. I always kept my grades together. I always performed in the plays. I played basketball at one point. I did all of the extra things that kids do, and it didn't ruin my life. And that was my story for many, many, many years. And once 2018, I feel like 2016 to 2018 were the couple years that I really started getting sober curious. That became a buzzword. Ruby Warrington's book, Sober Curious, came out, and I devoured it. I read it, and I thought that sounds like me. This is something that I maybe want to try on, but it seemed to say sober, no alcohol was just so daunting. And the curiosity behind it gave you a little more freedom in playing around with it. And in 2018, these were also times when my mom, as a mom, my kids were teenage, middle school years, and things were, listen, little kids, little problems, bigger kids, bigger problems. So things were affecting me. Mommy wine culture was so easy to turn to. And I remember I had a doctor's appointment, I think it was 2018, and my liver enzymes were elevated. And I didn't even know what liver enzymes were, honestly. She told me to take 3 weeks off and come back and retest my blood. And during those 3 weeks, I didn't drink. I'm a rule follower. And I felt really good. And I lost a few pounds. And I saw what that could look like if I wasn't drinking. And I stretched it out a little longer. So I had periods of that, and I knew how good it felt. Right before the pandemic, I was a part of 1 Year No Beer with Andy Ramage.
Oh, love him.
And yeah, we met him in Florida also. And I just interviewed him on my
Yeah,
podcast.
I saw that. So
Yeah,
cool.
such a stud, that guy. Um, anyway, he's this Brit. He started this program as a way to give up alcohol for a year without really committing to it, right? Kind of an experiment. So I did that right before the pandemic, and I had 4 months under my belt, and I felt great. March 12th, 2020, in New York City. It was a Thursday. I remember it like it was yesterday. The whole country was freaking out. I think the night before was when the NBA said we're halting games, we're stopping games indefinitely. We're like as we're talking, we're almost, 6 years removed from it to the date. And
Yep.
that day we were walking, my husband and I, and things were like so up in the air. What the heck is going on? And I said to him, I think I want a beer. We were going to go out to dinner, and he said, have a beer. And then he said, do you think you can have just one? And that was always my thing. That was always my thing. I could never have just one. He could have just one. I knew lots of other people that could have just one. I couldn't. I had to have more. I had to chase that buzz. I had to get that buzz. And then, knowing what we know now, that buzz only lasts 20 minutes and then you're just left chasing it. So I think in the back of my head, I always knew that an alcohol-free life was probably going to be my destiny. And as the pandemic went on, I did, I started to drink again, not a lot at first because it doesn't happen that way. It kind of builds up, and before you know it, I was drinking more than I ever had before. And I was affected by, we lost my husband's mom very suddenly. In 10 days, she had an aggressive cancer that took her out.
I'm so
And
sorry.
thank you. And then about 9 months later, my best friend, T. Scott, who I moved to New York with in 1995, he was the man of honor in my wedding and saw both of my babies come into the world. He struggled with alcohol through most of his life, but he kept it hidden. It was a big shame thing. It was such a something that he was like a big secret. And through the pandemic, he really struggled. He was in rehabs and halfway houses, and it was kind of hard to figure out what was going on. But when my mother-in-law died, he told me that he was not going to live a long life because of alcohol. He was also HIV positive. So his body was taking a hit. And in April of 2022, he walked into the hospital to have paracentesis, which is the draining of your abdomen. The fluid builds up because your kidneys and liver cannot process it. And he would go every other week to have this done. And this particular time he went in and he had pneumonia and sepsis. And he died in that hospital 6 days later. And it was such a gut wrench feeling for me. Even though I knew he wasn't going to live a long life, it still just, took me out. And, as he was in the hospital in Ohio, he lived in Ohio. He had left New York like 10 years previous. And I thought, do I go and I see my best friend, like what he looks like dying of this, so I can get my shit together? Because my shit was not together when he died. And I didn't, because I knew he wouldn't want me to see him like that in his final days. And so I did not get my shit together. I turned the other way and I started eating and drinking and just doing everything I felt like I deserved to do that he couldn't do. It was still pandemic-ish, so takeout restaurants, you could still get drinks and walk around with them. You could order Chinese food and a bottle of wine with it, so Drizzly was this app. I could have cases of wine delivered to my apartment within 30 minutes. And I would put in the notes, please have some cold. And they'd all come warm, and it would really piss me off. So I was numbing my emotions, my grief and what I was feeling. And it started to catch up with me. And in the summer of 23, I was waking up ready to go. I had a part-time job as an elder caregiver at the time. And I was waking up and thinking, what if I didn't get out of bed today? What if I just stayed in bed? And I'd never had those thoughts before. I'd never been depressed. I've seen my family members and friends go through it. And I thought, thank God that has never come for me. And here it was coming for me. And I knew exactly why. And I hated the way I looked. I saw myself in pictures and I thought, well, maybe this is just the life you're meant to be, like a life of mediocrity. And that thought was really, really scary because it just wasn't me. It just wasn't. I never lived my life like that. So I went to see my doctor in August of 23. And she, you know, has known my issues in the past. Some days in that before the pandemic, I went to her for a physical and I said, I'm done drinking. And now I was going back and I said, I'm drinking too much. I told her. I couldn't tell anyone else. I couldn't tell my husband. I couldn't tell my best friends. And she never judged me. She never condemned me. She just talked through options, and she didn't want to jump to conclusions until after she took my blood work. And I got that all those blood test results the next day, and they were awful. They were disastrous. Those liver enzymes that are in the 0 to 40 range, those two numbers, your AST and your ALT, one of mine was 195 and the other was 322.
Wow.
And she put in an email, you have to make drastic behavioral changes or I will put you on medication. My cholesterol was up. I was almost diabetic. My liver enzymes were the highest she'd ever seen. So she said, try to stop drinking, change your diet, move your body. And I don't want, I want to see you in 3 months or less. And if you can't make those changes on your own, then, I'm going to turn into someone who's medicated at age 51. I was 51. And I got that email, Jamie, and I was like, fuck this. But it was like, I am not a moderate drinker. I have never been a moderate drinker. I'm just fooling myself. And I said, I am going to do this. And I'm going to create a new life for myself. And I got busy listening to podcasts, walking, reading Quit Lit. And that's not to say there wasn't a struggle. I visited my friends down in Florida when I was 6 weeks sober. And my friend told me, you might not want to go out to the garage in the refrigerator because I got your favorite wine and it's out there. And I also knew that there was vodka in the freezer. And I never stepped foot in that garage the whole time I was there. I protected myself. Because I started to see change very quickly, very quickly. And when I went back to see my doctor 11 weeks to the day, I was a completely different woman. I had lost 27 pounds.
In how long?
In
11
11
weeks?
weeks.
Holy crap. That's
My
amazing.
cholesterol came down 50 points. My A1C was now below pre-diabetic, and my liver enzymes were normal. Everything. It was like nothing ever happened.
That's incredible.
It's an incredible testament to what your body can do when you treat it really kindly.
Yes.
So I didn't walk out of that office and think I'm getting a bottle of wine and celebrating, because that definitely could have happened before.
Yeah.
I said, this is my new life. Now what? Now what do I do? And, I found Carolina's Embolden program. I signed up for that. That led to the coaching certification. I felt very early on about the coaching certification that is something that I wanted to pursue. And so I did. And, just 1 month led into the next. I mean, today I'm sitting here, just over 2.5 years alcohol free. And it's just, I'm living a life of my dreams, truly living a life of my dreams.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. And I can see that. I was like, I look at your Instagram account, I was looking at it before, and it's so vibrant and it's so alive. And you do so much. You're dancing and you're just traveling and you're just like so freaking inspiring. And I just feel like your world now is just full of so much color and just energy, right? And like I could just feel it just talking to you. It's been completely life changing for you. Like it's insane.
It really has. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And within 11 weeks, the benefits that you've seen, and I'm guessing there's probably so much more to that, right? Were there any other benefits you were like starting to see immediately? Because we always talk about the face and all, the skin and all that. With like, what else was really like, what were you so proud of and felt really good?
the sleep, sleep
Yes.
was next level, not
Oh,
having any anxiety. I used to drink before I went to sleep. I would take ibuprofen. I would take a couple over-the-counter sleep aids so I wouldn't wake up with that anxiety, which never worked.
nope.
FYI, it never worked. So now, I mean, my sleep could be, it was like compact. I could maybe only get 6 or 7 hours, but
Yeah.
they were the most blissful and rejuvenating hours of sleep that I've ever had in my whole life. And my energy, my patience, I was just a more centered and calm person, mother, wife, friend. I mean, there are just so many pluses to it.
Yes.
And I have this saying, I love waking up in the morning knowing I'm the same woman I took to bed the night before, all because I chose not to drink.
Love
Because
that.
those those mornings of waking up and where's my phone? Who did I text? Oh my God, how much money did I spend? Let me check my bank account. Like they're just gone. The trust that I built within myself of this person that I am and uh, the confidence that has come with
Yeah.
it. And that's what you see when I speak, when I dance,
Yeah.
when I take on anything new. I adopted this if it scares me, that means I should do it mentality
Yeah.
because growth happens when you get uncomfortable.
Yep.
And you've done it too. So, I
Oh.
mean, you run. I don't run. That's one thing you will not see me doing on my Instagram is
You can be the
running.
dancer, I'll be the runner.
Fine. That works for me. Yeah. But yeah, it's the biggest glow up,
Yes.
biggest life hack,
Oh,
and I'm just so grateful um, that I finally did it. And I finally really just feel so good about it. It's not even a thing anymore,
oh,
meeting people like yourself and it's a beautiful club. It
it
really is. And
is.
the shift is happening. It feels really good to
Ugh.
say, I take care of myself. I don't
Yeah.
I don't drink I don't drink alcohol. It didn't work for me. It's not working for me. So
Yep. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. And it's great. And you outgrew it. So did
I
I. And
did.
it's okay to start questioning it. Cause when I turned 40, I got back from a trip from Palm Springs and I went directly and I was drinking the whole time. And I went
Hmm.
right to the doctor like the day after and my results were terrible, like you had. And it
Yeah,
scared the shit out of me. And it still took me a few months to like finally do it, but I was questioning it for, a while before I got started. And I was like, I don't want to have to be on a Mediterranean diet. I don't want to be on like cholesterol medication. Like I've always been healthy. I was always fine, even as a
exactly.
drinker until it finally wasn't. And it
Right.
started to catch up with me.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and it would
good.
have just, I mean, 40 is a great age. Like it would have just progressed and progressed. And that's exactly what crossed my mind when
Yeah.
I don't want to be on cholesterol medication like so many millions of Americans in this world because
Yes.
they can't get off the couch, you know?
Yes.
I was on the
Yes.
couch. I'm not on the couch anymore.
No.
And it feels really good to say that. And that's part of the
Yes.
reason I do all the stuff I do, especially in New York. It was ironic that I was living in this incredible city and alcohol was keeping me so small in it.
Yeah.
It was keeping me in my four walls after work with wine, husband coming home, me starting to think in my head, what does my future look like with this?
Yeah.
And it was scary to think he's got a lot going on and what are you doing? You just that self-loathing, right?
Hmm.
That self-loathing that starts to happen is not good for business. So
Mm-mm.
getting out, the experiences and that I do, the situations that I am fortunate to, I live in New York now and I
Yeah.
really live in New York. I am
Yes.
fully taking advantage of everything that this city has to offer. And
Oh,
it's changed my life moving this alcohol out of it. It has just made my life so big.
Yes. Oh, and I love New York. New York City is one of my favorite cities in the entire world, and I always wanted to live there when I was younger, and I'm
Mhm.
always like, "Why did I just do it for a little while?" But I love it. But what are some of your favorite things to do in sober New York City? I would love to hear it. Like, what are some of the fun like and it could be just walking through Central Park, but kind of what are
Oh,
your, like,
yeah.
go-tos?
I mean,
Yeah,
here's the thing. What are your favorite things to do sober? They're everything I used to do,
yeah,
except I don't have to worry about alcohol on top of it. I mean,
yeah.
going to Central Park with a picnic and wine and food, that used to be a thing. Now you can still do that and you don't need the wine. And FYI, not having to depend on a bathroom because you're drinking everywhere is really a big thing in New York too.
That is a great call out. Great call out. Yes.
Yes, exactly. But the theater, I love the theater. I'm there a handful of times a month. I mean, I'm going again this week, and it's one of those things. If I have a free Wednesday afternoon, I can just get a ticket and go see a matinee, and it's just a 20-minute subway ride for me. Um, the dance class that I'm doing is just totally lighting up my world. I'm a part of Toastmasters, which is a public speaking club. So fun. And I mean, and the traveling with, out of New York, even in New York, the fact that we can go underground on a subway and pop up in a completely different neighborhood. I'm talking like it feels like you're in a different world in some of these neighborhoods. I pop up
Yes.
in Chinatown where my dance class is, and there's a woman selling rice balls right there, right
Yeah.
as soon as you get out of the subway, and the chickens hanging in the windows, and you're in a different world, and it took
Yes.
you 40 minutes to do it. It's just
Yeah.
amazing to me. So
Mm,
I still love to do all of the things I did before. There's just not the noise of drinking on top of it. Going out to eat, I love going out to eat.
mm,
I'm a cheap date. My husband
mm.
also stopped drinking. So we can sit down and have an incredible meal for $80 in New York. And
Yeah.
if we were drinking, it would be at least double that
Oh,
because,
same.
yeah, glasses of wine are 16, 18, $20 a
Yeah.
glass. I look at
Mhm.
that and I'm like, oh gosh, no, I'd rather spend that money on my dance class.
I right? Yeah, and me and my husband, when we go out on our dates, like, we used to spend so much money on drinking, like,
Oh
we
my
constantly
God.
all the time, and then we'll go out, and now we just order all the food we want, we get, like, an extra appetizer, you get the salad, and it's, like it's still pretty affordable because if we were each having several drinks each, I mean, that
Yep.
adds up, so it's
Yeah.
always just such a bonus, like, there's so many bonuses to being alcohol free, and I think it's really
Yeah.
easy when you're earlier on to just have that FOMO of all the things that you're not going to be able to do. It's like, oh my gosh, you get to do so much more. But it's really hard when you're like in that messy middle part, like where you're just like, yeah.
It is
Yeah.
hard. That's why you
Hmm.
have to just keep at it. You really do.
Yeah.
I mean, as a coach, it's like just trust me on this,
Yes.
By the time your subconscious catches up to what your conscious brain says is right and the
Hmm.
muscle memory kicks in, and you don't want to do no one wakes up in the morning and says I wish I would have drank last night. No one.
Ever.
No.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it
Exactly.
takes
Oh,
time. It takes
it
time,
says.
but and then when you're there, you can't even imagine going back to it, Um,
Yeah.
smelling I was on a flight out to Arizona recently, and the woman next to me had red wine. That's
Yeah.
not my thing. Red
Yeah.
wine was not my thing. It was more white. But she had, like, this much left in her glass, and she fell asleep, and the glass was sitting there, and I could smell it, and it was just like,
It's like,
"Ew." I was tempted to say,
it's
"Could you
like, just here
remove
you go.
this?" Yeah. But,
Yes.
like, it's just yeah. It's hard to imagine that it was delectable, but it was only delectable because it was giving me a buzz, honestly, like, if I'm being totally honest. Yeah.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I was a beer drinker, and it would take me several to get my
Mhm.
buzz, but I always just felt so much heavier and
Oh,
just,
yeah.
it just nothing was good about it, but I just told myself, like, that how much I loved it, and it was, like, good for me, and it
Mhm.
helped me relax and make me more
Yep.
confident and do all these things, but it tricks you. Alcohol
It does.
tricks you, tricks your brain. Yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to talk a little bit about relationships because this is a mother-daughter podcast. So how
Oh,
has this
yeah.
you said your husband no longer drinks anymore, but it sounds like he wasn't a big drinker. But just how has this improved your relationships all around?
Oh, yeah, he was not a big drinker. He could open a bottle and have 1 glass and leave it on the counter for a couple weeks.
Like, who are you? Like, who
I
is this guy?
know. But he and I had really no intention of ever thinking that it would bother me if he drank, and then I just noticed that he wasn't, like, a few couple months into my journey, and he said that he wanted to support me, and he thought that maybe it's worth him looking at too, and even though he wasn't that big of a drinker, he has felt extraordinary benefits from being alcohol-free. Physically, mentally, emotionally. He runs his own company, so as a boss, he's been more empathetic, just on fire as an entrepreneur for him without it.
Oh,
And our relationship is just so much mellower. It's just so, he used to wonder what kind of Melissa he was going to come home to at the end of the
yeah,
day, because I could be a bottle of wine in by the time he got home. And making it look like and cracking open the second, but making it look like that was the first,
really? Yeah,
and depending on how my day went, I could be really happy or I could be a total fucking bitch. And
yeah,
he has said that. I actually interviewed him on my podcast. He was my
yeah.
first guest a couple years ago, and that's what he said. He said you didn't know he didn't know what he was going to come home to, and now he does. He
Wow.
knows every single time that
Oh,
it's an even playing field, and
yeah.
all of that is taken off the table, and we just we have fun. We have traveled a lot together, alcohol free, and we are active. We're an active couple that travels. We'll do, bike tours, and we rode Vespas through Rome. We didn't drive them. We rode on the back. But we will
Oh,
do walking tours, hiking. I mean, because we're not, no one's waking up hungover, and no one is waiting for that 5 o'clock cocktail. It's just off the table. So we feel closer than ever. We'll be married. I mean, we've been 29 years. We've been together and married. It'll be 27. So yeah, we've been around the block, and we still really not only love each other, but we really
yeah.
like each other.
Ah,
Yeah.
yes. In almost 30 years.
I
That's
know, I
crazy.
know. But
Oh,
who knows what could have happened if I didn't do this, to be totally honest with you.
yeah,
I feel like as a gray area drinker, you it keeps you stuck because your life is not exploding. I
yeah,
live in New York. I never got a DUI. I have a husband that loves me. My relationships were intact. I never lost a job. The turmoil lay inside of myself,
mhm,
and that could have just come to a head at some point. And, you know, um, I always thought, why isn't, that the cure would be for someone to say, Melissa, I think you're drinking too much.
yeah,
But that was never going to happen. Like gray area drinkers who have their shit together, no one is ever going to come out and say that. And even since I was have been alcohol free,
yeah,
people have come to me and said, I just thought you were having a good time. You were just the party girl. It never seemed like you had a problem. And
yeah,
to that, I say, you didn't live inside me. You didn't live in my
yeah,
heart. You didn't live in my head. You didn't know what it was like in the end.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
it's a learning experience for them too, because
Yeah.
pay attention to the people that you think are drinking too much because, they probably are wondering the same. I mean, I did for
Yeah.
years. So,
Yeah.
yeah, to have it off the table is just so freeing, liberating.
I completely agree with everything you had to say. And honestly, this whole episode, I just feel like you're just like romanticizing how beautiful the sobriety journey is, right?
Yeah,
And
well, that's what we need to do. Spring is
yes.
coming, God willing, and the romanticizing of alcohol will
Yes.
kick in big time.
Yes.
You watch, here in
The
New York, the
porch.
outdoor sheds come out and Aperol spritzes and oysters and you name it, the bouginess of it. And
Yes.
people get stuck romanticizing
Yeah.
alcohol. Romanticize your sobriety.
Yes.
Romanticize the fact that you are not partaking in that,
Yes.
that you are going to wake up the same woman you took to bed the night before because you don't drink.
Yes, I
Yeah.
love that so much. Okay, last question for you, Melissa.
Yeah.
What is your like biggest piece of advice that you typically would share with your clients or just in general?
Oh, wow. There's so
There's so
much,
many.
so many. Um, I would say because so many of my clients just start out feeling like they're not worthy of living a big, bold, beautiful, badass life. And they have to get out of their own way, and I got out of my own way. And I would just say, put yourself first. You have to put yourself first. As a mom, as a woman, it feels really counterintuitive to do that. We're taking care of our parents, our kids, our pets, everything, our jobs. And the last person that we take care of is ourselves.
Yes.
So put yourself at the top of the list. Decide you're worthy and get out of your own way and do it. And lean on support, community, a coach. Maybe there's a good friend that you want to do this with, and open up and share and be vulnerable and just lean into all of it because
Yes.
it's worth it at any age. Any age, you can still do it. You can still create change and make a life you really want to live for.
Yes. So beautifully said. And my mom just turned 70 this week
I
and
know.
she's
I
doing
saw
it.
that. I
She never
know.
thought she could do it, and she's freaking doing it. So
That's
anybody
amazing.
listening, you deserve to live your best life alcohol-free. Oh, thank
Yeah.
you so much, Melissa. And where can we find you if anybody wants to look you up or possibly work with you? I'd love to hear it.
I am the sober New Yorker across
Okay.
all platforms except TikTok. I don't do TikTok.
I don't either. I
I
don't know how to
don't.
use TikTok.
I can't add another thing, but I'm all over Instagram, The Sober New Yorker, and that's my podcast and that's my website, thesobernewyorker.com. And yeah, I'm out there. I'm doing lots of fun stuff, so would love to connect with anyone who's listening.
Yay. Well, thank you again so much for being here. It's just been truly a pleasure just hearing your story and just all of your inspirational words. And like honestly, like you just make me like want to continue down this journey because you make it just sound so freaking beautiful and so big, just living alcohol free. And so it's just been so great having you on here.
It's been wonderful, Jamie. Thank you so much. Much continued success for your podcast
Oh,
and your
thank you.
guests. I feel honored to be a part of it early on. And yeah, thanks for all you do as well in this space.
All right. Well, thank you, my friends. I hope you all have an amazingly alcohol free week. And just remember, you got this, keep going, and you deserve to live your best life alcohol free. And if this episode resonated with you, please consider leaving a 5-star review. It truly does help us reach more women and just get our message out to the world. So thank you.